All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Coming at you live from IntellectualRadio.com. This is Carlos Los G. Massey, and we got a special host today, the Hood Candidate. Um, we like to say hello to everybody. Hoping everybody having a blessed day. Um, Go ahead, Andy. You go ahead and tell us a little bit something about you.
2020 presidential candidate. That's me, the hood candidate, United Streets of America. Once we streets get this together, once the streets get it together, coming back from the movement of the 60s, we really can put everything in a different perspective. A lot of times we, run around with a Marcus Garvey t-shirts on, but we don't really know who we are. We just representing. And once we understand who we are as a people, then we can have a nation that looks like us. We've already built the nation based on our ancestral history, and now it's time for us to live in the nation that our ancestors built. That's me, the hood candidate, ran for president 2020 election. And the last thing I'm gonna say, if 300 of us would come together with one solution to abolish slavery, we would run this nation in 2025. 300 is a supermajority. That's 2/3 of Congress. We're not trying to pass legislation. We're trying to erase and abolish the oppressive laws that really are not laws. They're really just statutes, because the law is the supreme law of the land that comes with our inalienable rights, and the Constitution
Absolutely.
is just there to enforce our rights. So we've been taught wrong. We've been blind. I say I once was blind, but now I see. So this the hood candidate, United Streets of America. When all is one, all is well. When all is well, all is one. That's one nation under Yah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know something? You know, we've been taught wrong deliberately. This whole fiasco, it couldn't occur unless we were ignorant to the fact. There's a passage that says some to the effect of my people shall perish for lack of knowledge. We've been literally doing that. As far as our lives is concerned, it's as I said last show, I say in the preamble, it states clearly and specifically, we the people establish justice in order to form a more perfect union.
Correct.
And somehow we just handed that over to this bar association and this fiasco what we have at our judicial branch of government. You know, and
Right.
that's what this show is about. Man, educating, um, unity, getting our unity together, because it's not going to be no one group that's going to defeat what they didn't put together after all these years.
Correct.
You know, as a matter of fact, I do believe you have some dealings that you've been dealing with out there. Where you from?
Yeah. So right now in Aurora, we have a suit, a declaratory complaint against the city, just given the history about the slave patrols and the slave catchers. So the modern day police force has evolved from slave patrols and slave catchers. And if you know the history behind that, they could kill, beat, murder, do whatever they wanted to do to what they deemed as a rebellious slave. They target certain neighborhoods. And what we see today in the modern day policing is the same as it was back from the 1860s to the Jim Crow era, to all of that. That's what the modern day police force is. The other suit we have is against the United States and 32 other states to end the exception clause in the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment basically was passed essentially to abolish slavery, but then there's an exception clause in there that says you can be a slave if you've been duly convicted of a crime. And that's why we have so much mass incarceration today, because it's the prison industrial complex that just legalized slavery. So if you end the exception, then brothers is no longer on these plantations making 20 cents an hour or basically working for free. And so I have a suit against the United States and 32 other states that have this exception clause in their constitution, and I'm declaring it to be a violation of our inalienable rights. So I'm the litigator. So we want to litigate our way, basically using the model of the Brown versus Board of Education. And I'm not saying it's our constitutional rights that are being violated. I'm saying it's our inalienable rights that was given us to us by the God of nature, to the creator, the most high, which there is no man that is able to rule over that.
Well, absolutely, you're definitely correct, especially when you say your inalienable rights. Okay, these are something that if you don't stand upon them, you don't have.
Correct.
And if you don't know your rights, you don't got no rights.
Correct.
It's as simple as that. This is how they commit the atrocities and the bamboozlement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, sad to say, and I go on these just I've heard them throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? But they say you want to have something from a ninja. Okay, one easy way to have something from a ninja, put it in a book. Well, I'll be
Yeah.
blessed if that ain't what I done found out after all these years. It sure is right.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Right. No, I agree. I listened to the audiobook of Malcolm X twice this last week.
Okay.
I read the book, but I was painting and I just, it's 4 hour and I just listened to it. And one thing that you will understand about Malcolm is he was so articulate, because when he was in Norfolk prison in Massachusetts, there was a guy that had willed this library to the prison. And Malcolm went in there, and first he was aimlessly reading everything he could get his hands on. And then once he began to focus his reading, he, for better terms, he fell in love with the amount of history and knowledge that was hidden in these books. And one of the things we don't do is we don't read. So we take at face value what anybody is saying. And I say that also, dealing with the church. And I'm a marketplace minister, so I'm not bashing the church, but the people, we listen to what somebody else is saying instead of reading it for our own self. Because once you begin to read the spirit of the law, there's a spirit in the words that comes alive. And then you wind up saying, damn, all I got to do is become what I'm reading. So you would become that word that you're reading. And that's where the power comes in. But if you're not reading and you're only listening to somebody else's interpretation and not testing the spirit, I mean, we're at that position right now. You can just look around. We're
Right.
at that. That's the condition we're at. But we don't have to stay here. So it's not about pointing the fingers and blaming somebody. It's pick up that book, and read.
The amazing thing is that's exactly what I did when I first, got in the law like 26, 27 years ago. But I was forced into this position. They came along and they were trying to take my stepson, Michael Massey. They didn't change his name and everything, what have you. But I'm the one that raised him since he was like 3 weeks old. But anyway, all while they were doing what they were doing, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a Marine veteran. How y'all just gonna come in and just violate my rights? So with them laughing and thinking that was funny, well, I had to find out what my rights were. And when I say I studied, um, a lot of these, whatever I know, like the back of my hand. I go in these courts and stuff and whatever. And I said that when I say something to the judge, he had to get up and go in the back and whatever, go figure out, what I'm talking about.
Right, right.
You know, but being thrust into going from that situation, then I had a little run in and stuff and whatever out there in Crestwood. Um, Ended up having to sue Crestwood and get Chief Scully fired. He had been out there violating people's rights and stuff like that. And we used to laugh and joke about it. On any given day, you go into Markham from Crestwood, it's standing room only, and they all black. But there was no black people out there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, wait, we laughing about it, but wait, there's a serious infraction going on here.
Right,
You
right.
know, so he got so cocky. He used to come over and rob us. I stayed on the borderline. I stayed on my side of the street was robbing, across the street was Crestwood. Well, we had our falling out and stuff like that and whatever. And I beat the case. I sued them. And part of my stipulation was I wanted him fired. They cheated me. They reneged on the contract. They allowed him to resign. That's not the same thing.
Correct.
And then he turned around. He was working for he was working for the Payless department or some a neighboring department right there. That's not justice.
Correct.
He's free still doing the same things that he was doing. And when he called my grandmother the ninja, and she got the key to the city of Robbins, 55-year Sunday school teacher. No, the fur went the wrong way with me.
Right.
Look, you can't do that in my face.
Right.
Not this Marine. I'd rather fall dead in this yard first. But with that fight, from there, I got the civil. Okay. what I found is whenever there's a lawsuit here in Illinois, how many non-represented litigants do you know of have been successful?
Probably a handful, mostly on the criminal side.
Mhm.
I know
In civil
one
cases?
brother. No, I mostly the non-represented litigants that I know of that were successful was on the criminal side, just a few. But
Okay.
I do know one brother sued the Aurora Police Department. He was successful. It took some
Okay.
time,
Right.
but I do know
It's a rare thing.
correct.
It's a rare thing, and then the procedures and the hoops and the atrocities that they subject you to and what have you. For that brother one, I know, hey, I recognize his pain. Um, but statistically, you know, it's clearly unconstitutional. It's clearly unconstitutional. Um, Circumstances, you know, may be determined. It may be inferred. Wait, let me correct myself. Conspiracy may be inferred by circumstances, meaning a collaboration of events that lead up to a circumstance, or actually what it is a conspiracy, a crime. Okay, they may be inferred if you got those. Like, well, if you statistically look at what's happening here in these courts with the appeal, how long it takes to get appeal, with the public defender's office having a 2% win ratio, because I mean, if everybody else has a 99, 98%, that means they got like a 2% win ratio. That's about how many people win before federal court, two non-represented litigants, because they'll let a lawyer come in and what have you, scrabble on a piece of paper and what have you. He go up in there, they done made their deal already and what have you, and it's cash out. That money coming back to the bar. But a non-represented litigant, well, they've actually held me. They've actually held me. And when 9/11 happened, I was in Winnebago County. Okay, and I had a federal case, and the people kept on being in contempt of court, kept not showing up for court, even though they were subpoenaed and everything and stuff like that. And what have you. As soon as they got me from out there and off the 294 and stuff, when I went to what's that Rockford,
Hmm.
yeah. And as soon as they detained me, then they called court, and that's supposed to be justice.
Right.
When you and me both know, if you have a federal proceeding, what is the duty of that sheriff of Illinois? To see to it that I'm at that federal proceeding.
100%.
Okay, then. So that's fraud upon the court. The officers of the court and whatever are aware of this. I've just been told in my statutes some of the atrocities. You're familiar with some of them, but I mean, like, how many people in America has actually been able to get out from under being kidnapped
Right.
and
Right.
held for 312 days, no bond, no right of court, no habeas corpus, being enforced, no redress from the federal government, the governor, Supreme Court, several letters from the Supreme Court. Um, no, and then the administrator, Mark, Mark Rubin, he told me, says, okay, well, what's going on, Mr. Massey? Why don't you just play ball and take the deal, so you can go home? I said, no. No, because I want a 12-man jury, and I want to expose y'all for how y'all just got through stealing $250 million from the $250,000 from the taxpayer to hold a completely innocent man from coming in and exercising his right to defend himself. And he said, "Oh, well, you can get comfortable because we got people who know the law better than you here."
Hmm.
It's not, unusual. It's the places like the movie Gothica,
Hmm.
with the guards that come and tackle people. I mean, there was this guy. He was a martial arts instructor from Africa. He could talk, to you if you listen to him. You sure couldn't understand what he was saying if he get aggravated. And what happened was he came over here, one of them, them scams and stuff that they got going, and married an African, and you get the money and stuff like that.
Right. Right.
Where they put him out, he ain't had nowhere to go, so he was gonna stay up in this mall. Okay, out from the real rich white neighborhood and stuff, right down south. They wasn't having that, but they came to him wrong, and then they found out, He's a martial arts instructor.
Right, right, right.
So
He
he
delivered the blow.
right. So he ends up in here in Chester, sitting there with me. I know, like, for 6 months. Um, not a U.S. citizen, being forced drugged. That's against the Geneva Convention, by the way. Human rights violations. Violating the Nuremberg Code. Had all the sense in the world. Had just as much sense as you and me. Like I said, he's just African. He spoke different, and he was down south where he shouldn't have been. And I've seen these things, man. I've some of the people that I've gotten out. I had a guy. He was an armed security guard. An armed security guard. Never so much as even got a ticket before, right? They had this brother in the county, man, for 6 months. He coming home from work. They say they heard gunshots in the neighborhood. He didn't have his gun on him. His gun was inside his house and in the box. He told them about it. They went in, they got it, and went and charged him with it. And was going to make him cop out.
Mm.
They was going to keep on holding, keep on continuing, and they was going to make him cop out. I said, don't you dare. I went ahead and prepared his paperwork and what have you, and got him sent up out of there. But the atrocity. Do you realize that at one point when there were 10,000 people in Cook County Jail at $160 per inmate, that's $1.6 million a day that they was getting? And you mean to tell me we can't afford no more better public defenders, that we got a 2% win ratio?
Right.
Is that what the Constitution guarantees us, equal protection of the law?
That's what I was saying. And both of them are paid by the state. So then that's that whole conspiracy, that scheme to defraud.
Absolutely.
The workload for the public defenders out, they don't have the same resources as the state does.
Not
And
at
that's and we could go deeper into it, but just know our bodies is chattel. We're not actual people to this system. So once they get you in there as property, you as an individual is property. It's the same way as it was on the plantation. So they're still going to make that money off of you. The north to south, it's all the same. It's all about that revenue, that dollar, which is just what it is.
1933.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I was
actually,
gonna break down the real money, but
okay,
we don't got to go there because you know what I'm saying. But
maybe not today, but
Yeah.
throughout time, these are some of the programs or what have you that I intend on, initiating, opening up, founding, developing, participating with. And listen, everyone. Well, okay. Let me say this. Let me say this right now. We are in the last days, because they tell you about a web. You know what I'm saying? And then they say there's a web of knowledge, right? Okay, what's the internet? Okay,
web of knowledge.
it's a web of knowledge. Google it. It is not that hard. Google it, for God's sakes. There is a difference in your citizenship status, and you better darn me believe it. And you better recognize. If you don't, when you go in court, you'll find out.
Correct. And that's I believe one of the most honorable names that I ever could have is to be a teacher. There's no more powerful resource than a teacher, because a teacher can teach, and we have a lot of people with knowledge and they have information, but they're not teaching it, and that's what has kept us back. I was sharing with a brother today that I understand the separation of church and state. So a lot of these churches are 501c3s. Well, the separation of church and state is 508c1a. And that means the scriptures is what gives you your authority. I paid to get the paperwork done. But now the brothers that I'm giving it to that are honorable, walking upright, they don't have to pay. What I deal off when it comes to uplifting our brothers is a offering policy. So
Right.
whatever you offer is going to be straight
fine.
with me. Helping brothers with the criminal side, that prison stuff, same way. There's no charge for it. Civil, we have a covenant agreement behind it,
Right.
But definitely not. And that is something that our people need to begin to understand. When you're free, the job is to go back and free other people. You can't be running around here talking about Frederick Douglass and you out here charging somebody for their freedom. You can't talk about Southern the Truth or Harriet Tubman when you out here charging people for their freedom. And when I would call up Brother Massey, in fact, just a couple weeks ago, and we're just sharing with him some information, he started popping these cases, sending that stuff, sending it to me. That's the way we need to deal with all people, because you
Yes,
will
in
see
unity.
these organizations out here fighting for the judicial misconduct and all that. They're not the same skin color as you, so they would not be your enemy. They would be your ally. So it's
Absolutely.
best to take your personal experience and collaborate with those that are doing, so we can move forward as people, not as persons, as a people, because it's we the people, the
That's right.
scriptures, it's the people, the nation. And we've been so caught up with this race that we don't know who we are. We don't know our identity. We're American nationals. We're you For me, Israelite, the true child, and not the true child like nobody else is a child of the Father, but one that identifies with that on a personal level. And that's where we go back to the separation of church and state, because all authority has been given unto us. Who is us? Whoever believes that. And right now we have a judicial system that believes they have all the authority, but they don't.
Right.
And that goes back to what you were saying about the knowledge of self. That's what Malcolm talked about. That's what Marcus Garvey, the chairman, Chief Malik, all of those brothers were in tune with
Yeah.
knowledge of self. And that's what I'm saying. We have to understand that, because when you understand that, remember, these police officers work for you. They pull you over, ask them what their name is. Don't worry about what my name is. I got the right to travel. Don't be questioning me.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And let them know right out the gate. They got a Fourth Amendment.
Correct. And
You
I
know,
do
and,
not consent to this stop. I do
that
not consent. You do not
they
have
got a
my
Fourth
consent.
Amendment and they got a Fifth one.
You're right.
And
And
you do what you want to do. Get jiggy
mhm,
with it.
I
You
see you in the courtroom or the boardroom, baby.
exactly. I have no pressure with that. But see, this here is where the problem lies, because I anything I ever tell you, I can show it to you in black and white. So
Correct. It is
just like in the
written.
documentation and the paperwork that I prepare on this right here, this is my case that I had to go back before the appellate court again because of Lombardo violations. That's where a clerk of court is refusing to pass your to submit your paper per their sworn oath. Okay, these are officers of the court. This is a violation for the judges to allow it. That's breaking the judicial code of conduct. Because they're supposed to be maintaining, the order in the court, and the order in the court is everybody taking care of their job and their function. That's the supervisor. Okay. Well, we have here a lawful filing under uh, Illinois legislative statute. Okay, this is Illinois law. Okay, 735, Illinois Compiled Statute 52-1401. And what that is a
Void judgment.
motion to vacate a void order.
Mhm.
No void orders can stand. Okay, if you did something wrong, we just can't leave it. Common sense. Okay, then, so this is where you point out and you lawfully submit evidence to show that there's been a void order or fraud upon the court. Okay. Um, I have it on film. I have the whole interaction on film. This is our the 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 rulings that go on in the Illinois appellate court. If something happened to you and you go into your case law, you know what precedent's going to be. Precedent's going to be you can take an appellate court ruling, take precedent. You can take a Supreme Court ruling, district court ruling. You know what I'm saying? But these are people that's making laws that's affecting our lives and the lives of our children. Okay, what these judges are doing. And what these judges are doing, they are interpreting the Constitution. That's an act of treason. This is an act of treason. Um, and a motion to vacate void order can go back whenever,
At any time.
at any time,
It's as if it never existed.
as
You
if it.
can't make something that's null and void become valid.
That's right, absolutely. And see, where we have our work cut out for us, um, we got to get digging through these cases, what have you, and start vacating these void orders. We got to start filing these Rule 20 notice of unconstitutionality and getting these cases before the Supreme Court. These judges that are sitting here and all free willy nilly on these benches, there's what's called articles of impeachment. I have the whole process prepared and what have you. I got a couple, people lined up. But it has to be perfected, and this has to be done in unity. You spoke on something very significant. This is not a us or we thing. This is our thing.
It is.
Okay, we the people. You know, real talk is we the people, because when they say just us, they're not talking about y'all. They're not talking about us. They're talking about them. They the ones get justice,
The no the nobility,
the nobility, the money.
and
Follow the money.
the codes and statutes is for the bureaucrats. It's not for the people. The people are sovereign. So all these codes and statutes is built for them. And
Exactly.
what they've done is they've voted on stuff to take away your rights. Those the RICO Act, the gang enhancement, the omnibus, all that is unconstitutional because it's not law. You can't come together with 10 people and say we voted on something to take away your rights. That's why
Period.
they fight for the democracy, because the democracy means majority rule. We're under the republic where you self-govern. And this is why I say being the teacher is the most important thing, because if you don't know that, you wouldn't understand that. And I didn't understand this until I ran for president, because it required me to read. You can't just get up and say, I want to run for office and monkey see, monkey do, and do what everybody else do. We already coming in as an underdog. Nigga, you been to prison. You know all these quote unquote what it would look like obstacles really were opportunities for me, because it required me to read the FEC manual. It required me to read the job description of a chief,
That
not
part, yes.
a president, a real chief, to
That part.
see what it is and say, well, this is the authority that I have. And you seen Mr. Trump operate in that authority in his capacity when he was making all these decisions to do what? Free people.
Yeah.
That's the power he had, and there's no way that we shouldn't be, running for this office, but not to be like those in power, but to be those that are willing to serve one another, because that's what an elected official is a representative of the people, not the representative of your party.
That's
And
right.
we've been doing it wrong, and that's because we have not been taught. We have to be taught, and it's only going to be a select few.
Let me interject a little bit on that. Also, this whole thing where you have to pay millions and millions and millions of dollars to be elected in, and the only way you're gonna get these millions and millions and millions of dollars is if you get these millions and millions of dollars in donations from these big corporations. So in other words, basically, these big corporations is actually the ones whose interests are going to be served once you come upon that platform. Okay,
Correct.
how about we rebuild this and we start having votes? How about we, not based off of what the money was spent on the campaign? How about we start, our last couple of elections and stuff, like we had worse and badder. You know what I mean? We a rock and a hard spot, at best is what you could call our decisions as far as what our vote was.
Right.
So we need to change the narrative. For one thing, we need somebody in office and what have you, like, say for instance yourself. 24, you already know you got my vote coming.
Right.
We sure gonna get on the campaign,
Right.
because
We
it's a
campaigning
lot
now,
of things.
though.
It's a lot of things that need to be done. I could go into the city, but I'm gonna get back on this direction. What I'm trying to build, what I'm trying to get people to understand. This is this is not for me. I'm faded. I got my case as far as it can go. I'm aggravating them by helping and telling everybody this, but this is about everybody. Everybody. My partner, Cash Jackson, 20 years Navy veteran, came out. The corrupt judges and stuff, whatever, he went through his family, like they do. You know how they do.
Mm-hmm.
Put child support on him for his military pension, and then put him in jail. After he's not even allowed, he wasn't even being allowed to see his kids. But then he was picked up on a warrant that wasn't assigned. So I mean, the atrocities that 20 years, he was in while there were conflict. I wasn't in that long. Immediately, as soon as immediately I got out and what have you. I didn't go as far as I thought I could with my seizures, but the bad part about it is I saw the inside. You're told that we're this big free place, that this Constitution, and when you read the Constitution and you believe in it, when if we had to fight, oh man, pass me my rifle, let's go.
Correct.
Okay, But when you get out here and you actually in it, and then you read about like those men that came back from World War II, and and Greenwood, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about it, and I think it's a slap in the face for anybody to be against it being told. But if the lies can be told, then why can't the truth be told?
Correct.
Okay, so it's an atrocity. It's an atrocity for what this country has done to the people. We swear oath to defend the people, the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Do y'all know they have they have they are sliding in a law on us, y'all, and the law says that if they deem that you're talking anti-government rhetoric, or you're being you against they remember that on that thing, and the jab and
Yeah,
all,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, they was gonna label you a domestic terrorist. Ain't that the pot calling the kettle black?
It would be. And that's the type of information that we currently where we're at with.
Right.
It's unconstitutional in the sense of it violates our liberty, our freedom of choice. You
Freedom of
know,
speech.
the whole thing of the Declaration of Independence is to declare your freedom. That's something you declare. But if you are the believer that understand that, it's your birthright.
Absolutely.
It's your birthright. And we could go into the whole birth certificate scheme so you can understand how
Oh
they've
yeah.
stolen your birthright. Which again, it really goes down to teaching. Uh, and what I say is this: Brother Massey is sharing all this information. Talking about, hey, this is what you got to do. And I feel like it's kind of like the same way at church. They go up and hear the pastor or the minister teach, but then they never really evolve after that. They hear it, come back. I want to be inspired.
In one ear out the other.
Yeah, it's more about. It's more than just being inspired. It's more. It boils down to the application, the understanding. This morning I was, having a talk with the spiritual part of it, and it was like Solomon and all his wisdom, he didn't have that when he was given this position. So he asked for what he did not have. You don't hear about all that he went through because you just don't get wisdom just because you ask for it. You are going to be tested to give you the wisdom that you're asking for. And so I think about all the things that I've been through and understood, and did I really go through hell, or was I really going through the fire to get me where I needed to be at the platform where I understand today? And had I
Right.
not went through that, I would not
You
know.
wouldn't be you. Yeah.
I would not know. So it's not a bad thing, in the sense of this is where I'm at today. And that is why it is so important that our generation honors that civil rights, that black power, that Jesus freaks, the hippie movement from the 60s, because they're still here. We can touch them and learn from them as opposed to coming out here trying to start something new. We need to be picking up where they left off at. And what we're doing here is what they were not on that level of. So you fought for us to have the education, and now we have the education. Now let's do something with it. And if you want to know
Exactly.
who's doing something with it, look back at Johnny Cochran.
Hello.
Cause like, come on, man. If y'all really knew when he was winning them suits, how he would put stuff into the community. And I'm not talking about the current lawyers out here today, because I don't know, but it does not appear that you're winning these suits, putting stuff back into the community. Johnny Cochran was a legend on that, and he kept his word. Think about Geronimo Pratt. He said, "I'm gonna get you out." Might took 20 years, but he came back and got him. That's real.
And you know something? You spoke on something very significant about all these other attorneys. Understand me this. Where do you place an attorney here in Chicago, in this area where the legal research institution, and I think it was NIU. Don't quote me on that, but the materials out there, and it's widely known that Illinois, Cook County, Chicago is the most corrupt city 2 years running. Okay, in opinion by the United States Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, they say Cook County judicial system is a criminal enterprise. Okay.
I need that order.
Oh yeah,
I need that order.
oh yeah. I can show you that one. You have the Supreme Court. You look at Gray Lord.
Operation Gray Lord.
Okay. Understand me this. This is not new to them. They're very good at this. But what we must realize is the antidote was also written. The antidote is the rules of professional conduct, Illinois rules of professional conduct, okay, rule 8.3. Any judge having knowledge of the misconduct of another judge or an attorney is required to report it. And if he doesn't report it, then he's thereby in violation of 8.3, thereby subject to disciplinary measures, possibly on the Illinois State Employees Ethics Act, actually disbarment, because that would be that would be a felony. So I mean, there are remedies available. Are they listening to? Are they following what the law is? Because I mean, fast, quick, and a heartbeat, they'll come and get you if you make an infraction of the law. But are they following these laws in these courts? That's the question. That's what we got to bring forth.
Did you? I'm not sure what the name of the movie is. I feel like it's The Skin I'm In, where the cop shot this guy's son, and then they held court in the police station.
Oh yes,
is it The Skin I'm In?
It wasn't that might have been the name of it. But I'm familiar with that. Yeah, I remember that scene. Yeah.
I say that because there's got to be a twofold. We also need to be able to hold courts on our own without being in that system. And when I was listening to the autobiography of Malcolm, I felt like he said the Nation of Islam had their own justice system within their own organization on how they dealt with their members. I think that is phenomenal. I really do, because we as free people, especially when you're doing a separation of church and state, if you don't believe it exists, look at the Mormons. They very rarely go to jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
True that.
And so that is models. So instead of us like always saying, well, look what they doing, they getting away with it. No, you do it, but do it righteously. How. Right. Because I'm not trying to get away with wrong. We're trying to do right for our generations and generations. A lot of times we point to what somebody is doing saying, well, I want to get away with it. No, just don't do it, but still operate in that office, and I'm just saying we need to start holding our own courts, and we can't follow this unjust system to be the model for the remedy. We have to have a remedy that's rooted in love, not in vengeance.
That's true. That's true. And you mentioned the very word that we need about now, the very thing that we've been deprived of. Okay, that's a federal felony to deprive a person of their rights under the color of law. That's Title 18, Section 242. Okay, well, the right to remedy injustice, that's a law. That's the Illinois Legislative Act. Okay, Section 12 in the Illinois Constitution.
Swift.
Okay. When they deny you your due process, when they deny you your lawful redress before the court, okay, like the judges in violation of Lombardo, the clerks in violation of Lombardo, okay, all of these are deprivation of rights under the color of law. You're purporting to act in your function and your duty, and you deny them your constitutional right, and that's a federal felony.
Right.
They do it regularly. They do it so much till they think it's right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to go in there. Some of these courts where I frequent all the time. They've gotten to know me because the people don't even want to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Because no, I already know what your job was before I came up here. I looked it up.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Once again, I go on that Google. Matter of fact, this is a lot. I just want to get this out right fast before it get too late. I'm gonna read a slight part from one of my clients' cases. Okay. The client now makes known that any citizen of Illinois can Google Illinois corruption, and clearly published and uncontested articles show the pattern of practice crimes of deprivation of rights under the color of law has occurred in Illinois' First District Appellate Court, insofar as Justice Maureen E. Connors is alleged to have fixed an appeal case in the most corrupt manner when she ruled in an appellate notice filed on May 16, 2016, when it was appealed April 26, 2016, claiming the order was filed untimely and she had no jurisdiction to review, which is not true. Illinois law provides the 30 days to file notice of appeals, and petition filed under Rule 1401 must be reviewed as a separate case. Moreno Connors, the judge who allegedly committed honest services fraud, trespassed on all applicable laws, and deprived an Illinois citizen from due process and other civil rights to aid and abet the judge, Robert E. Shenanigans Racket, and Wells Fargo Bank Corporation and fraud. The article is supplied in support but factually committed the same aforesaid acts upon my client, aiding and abetting the super attorney Jamie Lane and the corporation insurance company he represents in conflict of interest. Because how the lawyer gonna represent the person, then turn around and go to the insurance company and get on their side and tell them don't give me the information? Wait a minute.
I
They know they
understand.
can't do that.
Right.
Okay. Mary Mikva. This is another Illinois First District Appellate Court. You know, these people that's making laws for us. Now, keep in mind, apparently regularly fixes cases in favor of her parties and interests. Judge Mary Mikva legalized kickback for wealthy people. Title insurance companies when legalized kickback for lawyers who refer their clients. This case has been brought by plaintiffs who allege two title insurance companies were paying real estate attorneys to refer clients to purchase title insurance policies from them. Insurance companies he represents in conflict of interest before the court. What I just said. On appeal, the third justice, Aurelia, dissented. In her dissent, she vehemently disagreed and stated these were plain and simple kickbacks for referrals, and no matter how you dress them up, they are still kickbacks. Pukinski wrote in her dissent, they are still wrong and in a class to demonstrate violations of both federal and Illinois laws. Once again, my brother, just think, this is not at the Supreme Court level, but at the second to top level of court that we're going to. And there's only 3 of them justices up there and what have you. There go 2 of them shot down right. But hold on, let me tell you another one, what I put in here. Finally made known on court record is that Justice Sheldon Harris based the decision in an appellate court case number 1335, which he dismissed in the most corrupt manner. According to Justice Harris, he had no jurisdiction due to an untimely filed notice, which was filed 20 days after the order of a 1401, worth to mention. The petition was unlawfully and instantly denied by the crony judge Robert Shanelli, who obtained his judicial seat through Mr. Madigan's list after his son Pete Shanelli allegedly served Mr. Madigan as his political aide. Judge Shanelli allegedly criminally concealed material evidence from case records, so it was never seen by the appellate court Justice Harris, yet he ruled in favor of Wells Fargo. My client has suffered the same denial of due process through the same process by some of the same actors and objects on record and will request a public hearing through quo warranto process to show cause for this pattern of practice conspiracy against rights being committed by an official who, between him and his unemployed wife, who loaned himself over $900,000 in order to secure an election campaign. Okay, wait a minute. These people, that's beyond criminal. That's beyond criminal, and they're controlling our lives. They're buying seats before the office. This is public knowledge. I mean, you know, one thing about me, Earl, I know about slander and libel. You know, anything I say once, I can say twice. I got the documentation to back it up.
Oh man.
You know, it's an atrocity. We gotta stop. How do we stop it? Unity.
By any means necessary.
That's right. That's right.
And you got to understand what Malcolm meant by that. It was not a violence. It was basically examine the obstacles, find the resolve, determine the vision. You had to look at the whole concept of what was going on and then say, will this work? Will this work? No, that won't work. That'll work. Boom, boom, boom. And once you make that decision, implement, execute. And one thing about our people, which understandably so I'm not the one to bash our people anymore, meaning the people of color, knowing the generational trauma that we faced historically. I'm saying we're at a position now that we don't have to have that same fear. In an essence, I mean, we still have an oppressive system, but we're a lot more organized. If you look at the 2020 social unrest, you've seen a movement that has not happened before. But after the march, after the movement, we went back home. And I'm always saying, after the march, then what? I believe it deals with the litigation. And that's
that's where it comes in.
Right.
You're right.
It can't just be the march. And, you know, we have a suit in Texas right now against juvenile detention in Bell County. And it's a mother down there. And both of us are the plaintiffs as private attorney generals. They didn't do a march prior to the suit. The suit was filed and then they retaliated based on the suit being filed. Then they went and did the march, which then brought them the first page news.
There you go.
I was like, what?
You
know, because we never planned that.
Right.
And I believe in everything that we do, we have to have a plan, at least to the best of our ability. It doesn't mean the plan is going to fully evolve the way we have it. But if you headed somewhere and you don't have no sense of direction where you going, how you going to get somewhere?
That's true.
And I'm not opposed to the marching. I'm just saying there has to be a plan. When we did this rally in Aurora, Illinois, my hometown, it was about 600, 800 people showed up. There was already suits that we had filed. It wasn't about I'm marching for I want my rights. I already filed a suit about the rights, but I realized that people were not interested in that because we want to have that moment. I felt like I've done something. I've showed up. I'm one of the people out here. But then you go back home, and then 2 days later, the very thing we was out there advocating for, the police arrested a brother for his son throwing snaps on the ground.
Well, with this breakdown of our third branch of government, it don't even require you to wear out your shoes. If
It
people
don't.
would unite, and set certain schedules aside where they showed up and court watched and noted these discrepancies and stuff like that, and then returned and came back,
With a
and
report.
we impeach some of these SOBs, then we can set the standard that when it's going to take a couple of them to lose their houses, end up behind bars and stuff like that, but then all the rest of them, they're going to act right. Then we can start getting something that our people go out here and die for, okay? And that's our equal protection of the law. Our constitutional guarantees. And you got constitutional guarantees in both the United States Corporation and the Illinois Corporation. Why is it that ALEC, ALEC?
Yeah,
Why is it that only their interests? What really gasses me out? Now they got men in the women winning the women's Olympics or women the women's swimming things and this, that, and other, winning the women's sports and stuff like that. And that's supposed to be okay. Okay, you're confused. You don't know what you is. Okay, that's fine. That's your business. I don't mind that and so on. But don't expect me to be confused. I can see.
And I saw that the other day. The thing that came to my spirit was we're living in the days of Noah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the Bible for me, and I make this clear, is a history book. Whether you believe in it or not, it's a history book that's living because everything that happened in that book still happens today. It's the same thing going on. We just haven't had nobody teach us how this applies to us in our day-to-day living. The same thing that was going on in the days of Noah before the flood happened is the same thing that's going on now. The same plagues that hit Egypt is the same plagues that is going on right now. It's the same thing, but there's a way out. It's a way out, and we have to be able to understand what that way is. It's a way that seems right to a man, but leads to folly. It just seems that, oh yeah, this is good. This is a good thing to do. No, it's not the good thing to do because it says the golden rule, which is universal, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And when you talk about that, the judge watching, I believe historically that's part of the things the NAACP would do. But for some apparent reason, I don't know, we done got away from our first love. The NAACP versus Button, NAACP versus Alabama. These are landmark Supreme Court cases that allows me and this brother to help each other in litigation as laymen.
You're right.
This is the case that does it. Why would I be sitting around here marching when I can let my fingers do the walking with a lawsuit? The NAACP sued Donald Trump under the Ku Klux Klan Act. The same Ku Klux Klan Act that they sued him under would have brought the police in check. Because that was the whole reason why the Ku Klux Klan Act came after the Reconstruction, to hold these people who were in government accountable.
Yes.
So why, again, but I'm not saying they got to do it.
It's application of the law. You're right.
We can do it is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to talk about what they're not doing, because now that I can see, we can do what y'all are not doing. And hopefully that will spark a movement that we all can do it across these states, so we can really become a reckoning power of people beyond boundaries without measure.
That part.
We really have this ability to do it. And what we have to stop doing, if his strength is, which I've been able over the last 2 weeks to really grab it, is holding this judicial system accountable. That's his strength. and research. If my strength is going into the drafting and the research of the paperwork, well, I don't want him to do what I do because that's going to weaken you. I don't want to do what somebody else is doing because that's your vision. Let me do my thing, you do your thing, you do your thing. And now we got a table of family. I would say brotherhood, but we with the brothers and the sisters. So we have a family table, and now let us all break bread together.
That's right.
That's what we have to do. We have to work on our strengths. And I think so long, well, that Negro ain't doing this or this ninja, he ain't supposed to do what you doing. That's what weakens us. We have to use our strengths to come together, no opposition on this game, this table, this game. Listen, you the rook, he the knight. I don't care who the king and the queen is publicly, but in the house, I'm the king, my wife the queen, and I serve her. So it ain't one of them power struck things. We know each of our positions, and knowing the game of chess, sometimes the pawn's gonna leave. But a pawn can get took, and you can go back and get your pawn back.
That's right.
I'm not never leaving nobody.
Must be made. We all must be willing to do our share. You know what I'm saying?
Man, we could do this. I mean, I can't say we can do this. We doing it.
I'm about to say,
yeah, we doing it. We doing it.
We don't can right here. We
doing it. Yeah, by any means necessary.
That part. Yeah. Oh, trust and believe, man. Don't I know how that can go? But you know what? We must remember though. We the people. You know.
And the folks, that's common with saying.
Yeah, and the folks, you know, we got to realize this gonna take unity. This wasn't put together overnight.
Correct.
These people are deep set. These people can be dirty and tell you they're dirty to your face in court and what have you. You turn around and go to another judge, it'll never have been said.
Correct. That's why we got to have that court of record.
Absolutely. They keep you where you can't. You know why they want you to put your phone up? Because they don't want you to see the crimes that's going on up there. Because witness of two or more is eligible for acts of treason.
Correct.
Must be witness of two or more in the same avert act. Okay. They don't want that. Why do you think all the time when I used to go to court and stuff, the last person to get called? Me.
You.
Yeah. You. That's because they don't want nobody in the courtroom and stuff. Why have you? When I get to run in my mouth.
Yeah, because you're going to teaching somebody and then you have the witnesses. And that's why I'm saying we got to stop depending on somebody else to do for us what we ought to do for ourselves.
For ourselves, yes.
It's just simple. We look for the masses instead of just taking a few good men, a few good people. Give me 3 people that's solid that we each one can work together. I'm straight. I'm telling you, 3 people is what 2 or 3 are gathered. I'm good with that.
There it is. Look, Cash came in with me in Marker, man. They didn't erase all. We had it on video and stuff like that, but they erased all his material. It was remarkable. He was in there right with me and stuff like that. And he got at the time he was a governor candidate.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying? And he got into an argument with the judge right there. But I mean, he did. He came still right there beside him and his campaign manager, Drake. Yeah, but. We came out and we had to film, another. I ain't gonna say no defeat. I'm gonna say they averted the attack again. You know what I mean? But in these courts, what we're dealing with terrorists.
Domestic terrorists.
Yeah, that's now they want to call names. Okay, let's call about for real what they is. If you're in violation of your oath of office, and if you are sitting up there on that bench and what have you, deciding over people's lives, and you got the power to affect generations, okay? Because you send the father in the jail, what have you? Of course, you're going to affect the kid.
Correct.
Okay, so you got this power, and you sitting up there breaking the law, and what have you? You a terrorist. Now, since they want to call names, let's keep that part. Let's keep that part right. And I'm coming for you too. By the way, that part. Yep.
What Scarface say? Here come the white sheep. Nah, here come the black robes.
That part. That part. Yeah.
We're a black robe. What is this? A death chamber? Because that's what it is. We dead into the world. We really are dead to the world, and we have to become alive again as a people. Yeah. We are as a people. And I mean generally hopeless. Look at the 2020 election. That model there is showing you the people are broken. They don't need to be judged. They need to be loved. They need some healing from the trauma that we've been facing for 160 years. It's generational trauma. You ever heard of Dr. Joy DeGroy?
Yeah.
Like she breaks it all down. It's multi-generational. This would happen to the ancestors. They parents saw that, then their parents saw that, and the children were being raised from the fear of the great great grandparents that has been down from generation to generation, generational wealth, generational poverty. Why? Because that's what you see. The few that make it out, very, I don't want to say they don't come back, because again, I don't know everybody's story, but to look into the hood and be like, obviously some ain't coming back, right? Because we still have the problem that exists.
Well, have you looked at all our black officials that we have? Why have our neighborhoods declined? Why has not things gotten better?
I would say that instead of us transforming, we conform.
Yeah.
And as the chairman say, they want to stick a foot up your butt, and if you move, they call you rebellious. That's something he said on it.
Okay.
As long as you stay still while they screwing you over, you straight. But if you tell them it hurts and you move, then they consider you rebellious. And I look at some of the elected officials, they talk it and they understand it. And to their defense, it's like, if I come in and I'm elected, I done did this great public speaking campaign, and then I look and see the Goliath, the giant. I don't want to face the giant because I'm all alone, which goes back to the point I said earlier. If we come across these states 300 strong, we ain't going in there individually no more.
Right.
It's like, on Cooley High, who you in here with? Disciples. Then you see all these brothers and sisters stood up. That's how we have to move. Right. They don't need to know who we are, where we at. We got to come in like spies, but we all in here together knowing that we have a movement, because you could be Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. If your platform is to abolish slavery in all forms, including the involuntary servitude when they taking them taxes out your check, that is involuntary servitude. You are working for the government. That is a form of slavery. That's how you get the rich people, quote unquote, involved. You can't just come with one message and say, look, I want to abolish the prison industrial complex. Well, you got one group that's making money off it. Another group that says, well, that's public safety. Then you got another group that's saying, I don't know what to do. Well, by golly, Houston, I think we have a problem.
You sure right.
We got to teach them what to do.
Now, that's where the change comes in. That's where the unity comes in.
Correct.
I sit back and I could just about work somebody's case off of my Facebook page, because of things that I've posted and stuff. I'd be like, oh, wait a minute, I put that.
Right.
If I can't find it in my paperwork, I just go on my page where I go back. Oh yeah, it's back there, whatever, right? And I sit there and I look and I say, or sometimes those memories that come up, and I can remember. I can clearly remember this particular time with Judge Michelle Pittman. I came up there, I was in there, my foot was broke. One of the judges told me if I want to get my foot fixed, why don't I take the plea and then I can get out and get my foot fixed. So I walked around there and what have you. That's why I'm disabled now. And I walked around on this foot that needed reconstructive surgery with bones sticking out through the top and the bottom. Okay, yeah. And the judge held me in there for like 6 months. I wrote up all kind of motions and everything. And this is what this man said to me in open court. In Markham. But then that ain't as bad though. Like let me go get this part. Michelle Pittman. That's one put the hit on me too. I do believe that is my belief, because it happened when I came from her court and she was the one making sure I went where I went. Okay. Well, I'm sitting there. I didn't realize that she had this complaint that I wrote up and sent to Chief Judge Evans. And so I'm sitting there, I got my motion and stuff, whatever. I'm getting ready to go into my motion and stuff, whatever, right? Because, they held me for like 3.5 years on supposedly driving on suspended license when I'm filed before the court and we're having American National and everything, my declaration and my affidavits, whatever, all filed before the Secretary of State and everything. So lawfully.
Right.
Okay. So she don't understand it, and she just refused to lose. You know what I'm saying? I had an appeal. 16 motions didn't even come to the appeal. Kim Fox is aware of it. I got her paper too. But so Michelle Pittman, she looks at me, right? And she's reading. She says, "You crackhead, Johnny Cochran wannabe." I'm sitting there, my mouth like to hit the podium right there. Like, what did this? Like, what? And before I could catch myself, I'm like, bitch, you don't know me. I'm like, and there we went. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it was over. The fiasco in the court. yeah, that's why they don't allow nobody else in there when I'm up in there. But when they got me in, when the bailiffs got me in the back, right, they like, man, see what you, cause they all, they've been rooting for me, over the years and stuff
Right,
like that.
right,
Right? They checking out my filings, and I did a couple of divorces and everything. You know what I'm saying? So like, Nancy, man, why you let her take me off my square? I'm sitting there like, didn't you hear what she just said? I'm
right,
like,
right,
man, but this is what they do. And they good at it. She don't want to face none of the legal stuff that I'm coming, so she would have to pick a fight with me. You yeah, I wrote it up on you. Hell, you knew that when he called you yesterday. When he got the complaint, he got up with you some kind of way. You don't act like it was just cause you synced it up in there, which it wasn't supposed to be. But
right.
this what we face with. This is what I would like. What I envision. What I envision is us to stop getting together, and we're gonna start meeting up. You know what I'm saying? We need to do this unity thing together. The Veterans Liberty Network. I've been speaking with them and stuff and what have this group, with veterans and stuff like that. And you know, I'm gonna see what direction they're coming and stuff and what have you. But I gotta say I'm gonna be pretty much molding a path, something like John Gentry did out there. There's impeachment hearings, there's impeachment proceedings. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm
Right.
about to go ahead and get my feet wet.
I love it, and you seen that movement we had called Restore Illinois. It's
Right,
like the government, governor's election, but it's not. It's really we the people that have the solution. So you bring in the ACLU, the Poor People's Campaign,
right.
the NAACP,
They won't touch it.
the well, I think there's some that will, and I say this because so many people want to be recognized,
Mhm.
and I'm okay with that. You can be
Right,
recognized.
right.
I just want to make sure we get the words out and the word out that we the people really do have the solution. We've been giving our power up to other people that have no experience. That's what has happened.
And it's on the payroll.
And so what we have to do is say, I don't need being elected is just one of the solutions. The 1964 Civil Rights Act bill was implemented without jokers being elected. They knew their part, Dr. King. That's however they did that without them being elected. We have to look at that and say, that is a blueprint of what we can do. There is a Department of Corrections in Michigan prison bill program. They partner with Habitat for Humanity. Why the heck I gotta go to jail to learn a vocational school? Sheriff Ron Hain out of Kane County. He done turned the whole county jail basically into a restorative justice center, like a church, like a hospital. He
Right.
has really been progressive and not talking the talk, but being it. He got brothers that was in the county. Listen to me, that done come to his house cooking for him, going in his refrigerator, being at his wedding. This is a sheriff with
Right.
brothers that was locked up. I'm saying that is a model of a community that cares about each other. That's somebody living it. And that's why it has to be we the people. There cannot be division in this movement because that is what has stagnated our growth, blaming the ancestors for what the descendants are facing. What these descendants don't got nothing to do with their ancestors. They still reap from the harvest. So there is that, but I can't hold you accountable if you my damn neighbor. I got to break bread with you. Cause I'd rather me and my neighbor be straight. So if somebody come to break in, at least my neighbor know me. Be like, ain't my house.
That part. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know them.
That part.
They were over there yelling the other day at our kids.
Right.
Get everything. I think he hid the stuff up under the. You know what I'm saying? Look at that
Right.
Folgers cup.
Right. I see about there with the can on. Tell me it's right
Right.
there under that can.
Right,
Over there.
right.
But no, seriously, man. You speak a very significant truth, and we must really hone in on that. I mean, like in our own community, because you know
Correct.
something. And I'm gonna tell you something. Last summer, what really broke my heart. I ran down my street. I was born in my house. Okay, I was born in my mother's bedroom. Okay, I was born in the YY100s. All right, so I'm coming down the block by Ada Park and stuff and what have you. And I looked over, and honest to God, man, one of the swing moving,
Mm.
a kid laughing, or a puppy stirring. You know what I mean? Um, it almost brought a tear to my eyes. The realization that, man, it done got so bad out here, man, the kids can't come out and play no more. When I went to the Philippines, they freaked out on me because it was like, it was dark, 9:30. 10 o'clock and something like that and what have you. Well, it was right before the mall closed. And man, the kids was all out running around. I'm sitting there like, where their mamas at? What's going on? What's up with all these kids and stuff? Where they supposed to be? Where they come from? Right? They're like, dang, man, cool out. Can't the kids play where you from? And I was laughing. I was joking. I was like, shit, not if you want them. You know what I'm saying? But then when I came home and drove down the street and saw that, the reality actually hit me. Damn, it's really that effed up out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we must address this. We must address this because this sort of chaos, you know what I'm talking about? This chaos, this was created. They got the book. They did a play-by-play that came right after the leadership. You think that was by accident? That wasn't by accident.
Nope.
The COINTEL program wasn't no accident. They didn't go away. You hear anybody getting in trouble about it?
Nope.
But
we talk about it all the time. We rap about it all the time. And you bring up COINTELPRO, the brother Shaka Shakur and these brothers, they still here.
Suffering. Yeah.
Matula Shakur, he's still here. Momi Abu Jamal, he's still here. This ain't no ancient shit here, man. Sorry about that. This ain't ancient. These brothers on the COINTELPRO are still locked up on these plantations. We, as the descendants, we as this generation, has the mandate that we must go set them captives free. This is not an option.
Yeah.
This is like, what do you think we're here for?
Wait a minute. You know how they say an eye for an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no wrong, ain't no right and two wrongs. Okay, well now keep moving, man. Taking into complete reality of what they have on record done to us. Let me give you a case in point. Okay, you give on the eye for eye move. Martin Luther King Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was discovered and it was awarded in court and settled that our CIA, the Memphis Police Department, and several others, including Bush, is the one that killed Martin Luther King. And then we know that he was actually smothered at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with a pillow. Okay. Who was held accountable?
Nobody.
Okay.
Same thing with Malcolm X.
So
that just came out.
Couldn't they free one of ours for whatever infraction they done did?
Not one.
You're
the
right.
whole generation.
You're right. Yeah, cause we got to carry mount for you're right about that.
But you can't be locked up 30 years and you still a menace to society. These brothers' health is failing. Some of them can't even see. What is the purpose? Because you dead to them, and that profit is being made every time you in there.
The money. Yeah, they get money.
Again, we go back to that whole birth certificate. You know what I'm saying? Bro, listen, you go to the, I think it's GE Unity. I don't know what it is, but it's something I got it written down. You can put your social security number in this one website and you will see your name being traded all across the world.
Yeah. And Duns and Broad Street.
Yeah.
KISSUP. The KISSUP. You want your KISSUP?
I know about the KISSUP number, but it's a different some site, man. I went in there, my name was being traded 849 times. And they making money off that. That is why it's so important that we become the secured party creditor, correct our status, and we get it now.
Yes.
Because the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous.
And classes doing this.
Most definitely.
We, the people, called just like Hill versus Hinkle, you know what I'm saying? Okay, an individual citizen can stand upon his constitutional right before a corporation. A corporation cannot.
Correct.
Okay. Let's learn what the difference is between, actually being, a free country or chattel for a corporation.
Right. Because it's a free country.
It's a free country.
We just don't know who we are.
You just haven't attained your freedomship.
Mm-hmm.
Your freedomship have not been filed yet. That's a manner of putting, sad to say. But legislatively, what we need to do? Mm-hmm. We need to abolish that. We catch these states in violations of our articles of incorporation, and we have them disenfranchise their ability to operate under the articles of incorporation and stuff. We're gonna start getting some act right out of these people, man.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? It's written. It's right there. It's bona fide. It's in black and white. And one out of two things. Either they're going to follow the law or they're going to show us that they're not following the law. And if, as at that point, when they show us that they're not following the law, then, well, hey,
That's why it's gonna
I'm going
take
to hold
us.
that.
That's why it takes all of us.
Yes, absolutely.
That's exactly why. Because when it's all of us, now we've exposed the enemy for what it is or who
Yes.
it is, and now there's no hiding. Because you're gonna go home and then you're gonna recognize it just wasn't no ninjas in here, no.
Right.
Because
Right.
we always just show up with our own people.
Right. But that
Nah,
ain't it.
bro, we gotta show up with everybody. You know.
Everybody. I was so in tune with Dick Liberty. He's the founder of the Veterans Liberty Network, and I was just so in tune with the very fact of the matter that yes, us veterans, above all, I mean, we the main ones bamboozled, so we should be once again first ones on the front line. As far as the struggle over here, we should be the first ones on the front line. Right here, demanding justice, demanding that the Constitution be upheld, demanding that these laws be followed because God bless it. My partners died over there. The ones I left at the airport and stuff like that, or whatever, and we had our little golden champagne and everything and stuff, whatever. They went over there and got killed, man. And I got a bad taste in my mouth about them not following the law. I got a real bad taste in my mouth about these judges and these attorneys who are in RICO conspiracy. I want everybody to stand behind me on this one because I already told you they didn't try to wipe my nose twice, well, 3 times. But I'm gonna just say this, just like this. That's coming soon to a courtroom near you.
Yes.
Look for it. You can anticipate that. Like I say, anything I say once, I'll say twice. And they damn sure about to see the paperwork.
I love it.
Yeah, and we were speaking on some projects that you had going and stuff and what have you. I want you to know I'm 100% behind you with those too.
Well, next to me,
Yeah,
we
okay
all
then.
walk side by side
All
in
right,
this
then, bet
movie.
it up.
Yeah.
Bet it up. Well, I mean, from time to time, when we be in them the tactical, sometimes I say, hey,
Right,
you got
right.
about 6. You know what I'm saying? You got to run a flanking move over this way or what have you. You got, hey, look, how
Right,
we
right.
how we got to do this battle. Real talk. But I'm just here to say, a change is coming.
Well,
It's on the way.
I got a song called "A Change Has Come."
The change has come.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Yeah,
change
yeah.
has come. No, for
Oh,
real
yeah,
talk, the change has come.
yeah.
It's not coming. Sam Cooke, I appreciate that. That was for that generation. Our generation said the change has come because we are here.
Yeah.
Everything we talking about is in the now. The logos, as they would say. We are in the present moment. There's no past tense. There's no future tense. We are living in the moment. So everything that we want, we declare it as it is so. Speak it as it is already in existence. We want freedom. Well, hey, I'm free.
Declare it.
Look at Stan Tookie Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Brother was free. He was free. I mean, he was on that plantation, but once he had understood redemption, it freed his mind with a great conscience, And what does Schwarzenegger do? He had the power, and we can't be letting these people have the power when they're corrupt in their own sense, and they have the evil in their own hearts. So,
Absolutely corrupt. I mean, there's no secret. I mean, this is published knowledge. Everything I just displayed and what have you. You can acquire that looking through your newspaper archives. You can acquire that on Google. I mean, this is public knowledge. I have somebody that I've been dealing with for several years. Let's say, okay, and when I was fresh into this battle, and I was looking for help. Every attorney you go to, everybody know this. Everybody, y'all out there, y'all know this. If you go to an attorney and you mention something about you got a case against a judge, a case against DCFS, a case against your neighborhood official or something like that.
Any government entity,
Right? Yeah, there you go. Their caseload. We got too much to do. We can't take that kind of case. We're not that type of But they got the ones in a wreck. Need a check. Okay, they all over because that's their racket. This is what they do to make money. They're not applying law. They're applying procedures. When you come in there, my client, I wish I could have been there because I would have jacked. But she told me. She said that The judge told her to her face, on one of my filings and stuff like that. That's the way we do things in here. uh, that's not what the Constitution said. That's not what you swore by, because you swore by oath to uphold the Constitution and to protect the rights against all stealthy encroachments, thereby of. As a matter of fact, you have a recognized duty, actionable before a court of law.
Mhm.
I wasn't in there with her. They got away with that move and stuff like that, or whatever. And of course, you can't get the records. They don't have the records. They weren't on the record.
Right.
A lot of these policies that they've went through, that they've interjected now with this COVID stuff and whatever, this COVID pandemic, um, I'll just say this to end all of the long and short of that is, any delay of justice is constitutionally ruled as a denial of justice. Okay, so they can go with their procedures and they they rigmaroles and this, that, and other, and what have you. Just for everybody's knowledge, it's called Title 482, United States Code 1986. Yeah, failure to intervene.
Mhm.
We about to close this out, y'all. We're gonna get better and better, greater and greater,
Yes.
and we see you later.
Peace.